Hey, Chris Murphy here with another walk around video on a Mahindra 5155. Same tractor as the 5145. So you can't hardly tell without looking at the numbers on the hood. The 55 is 10 more horsepower, of course, than the 5145. But other than that, everything we're going to do on this walk around video will be the same. It's going to look the same. The 5155, unless I'm mistaken, I think it's just got a turbo on it, giving it some more horsepower. Start off like we do on all our walk around videos. Let's start off on the universal skid steer coupler. Mahindra does use a universal skid steer coupler. I don't know why everybody doesn't do this. It's non-proprietary. You can get a bucket, a set of forks, a grapple from anybody you like. Certainly want you to come back to me or your local dealer, but at the same time, it's not proprietary. Universal skid steer is the way to go. Now, just like we always talk about, make sure that your pins are locking in and out of that hole positively. Make sure that wedge pin is down in there. That's just for safety. Make sure both sides are done that way. Make sure that this is kept clean. Either a little grease smeared on it, a little lubricating oil like penetrating oil, something like that. When you walk past your tractor, just pull the handles up and make sure they're not frozen up. All right, Mahindra greases every joint. Like on here, you've got a grease fitting actually on the cylinder ram and on the pin. So make sure when you're greasing that you're looking at everything. Like right here is no grease fitting, but it's got a grease fitting on the barrel end of the cylinder. So every joint on the loader is going to grease. The front axle is going to grease as well on the kingpin right here. I'm not sure if you can see it. On the kingpin, on your tie rod ends. And we'll get to the other side, we'll look and make sure that it greases on the steering cylinder. Now also, I can see right here you got a grease fitting on the rear trunnion and on the front trunnion. That's where the axle pivots. A lot of people neglect to do that. It's not a common repair that we have to make, but if it's got a grease fitting, man, grease it. That'll make it last longer. So grease that. We'll go to the back. The 5100 series, if you're familiar with the old Mahindra, the old tried and true, the 4025s or the 4540, 4550, that's kind of the series of the tractor and the size of the tractor that brought Mahindra to the dance. This is the same physical size with a lot more modern features. This tractor is going to have a much nicer hitch. You've got lower links that slide in and out. Makes it so much easier to hook up. You've also got category 2 and category 1 on the balls to hook up. Your top link is the same way, category 1 and 2. On your PTO cover, this does fold up out of the way, makes it a lot easier to hook up onto your PTO shaft on your implements. Right here, I like with the placement of this, the yellow knob, you can choose 540E, neutral, or 540. When you've got this in neutral, this shaft, this one's got a cover on it, but if it didn't have the cover, the shaft, you can turn by hand to spline it up, to spline up your drive line on whatever implement that you've got. Very nice feature. Just make sure once you're hooked up that you put it back in 540 and go from there. On your drawbar, this is a swinging drawbar. It'll go side to side. Just remove your pins and place it where you want to. It does come with a hammer strap. The hammer strap is bolted on. If the hammer strap's in the way, you can remove that very easily. Be careful with anybody's drawbar, especially with one with a high hammer strap like this. If you go over a hill and you've got a drive line hooked up, you don't want it to come into it. So take that out, push it to the side, do something where you don't get any drive line, okay? Now, while we're on the back, hydraulic oil is checked. Transmission, hydraulic all runs together on this tractor. Check it right there. You will actually fill it back in the same hole. And I like that. That's got a metal dipstick. And just threads in. You do have heavy stabilizers here with a slide collar. That is a very nice stabilizer. I doubt that you're going to bend and break that. If you bend and break that, you've done something wrong. That is a very heavy stabilizer on this tractor. Of course, you can see this is a folding ROPS. This will fold out of the way if you have to get inside your barn, inside your shop, chicken house, or whatever. This will fold down. Keep in mind though, if you put a canopy on, and you fold it down, your canopy is standing up just as tall as this. So if you've got low lying stuff that are low, like a low roof you've got to get under, probably wouldn't behoove you to put a canopy on one. But some people put them on there and just take them off. So we'll come on around. Now, while we're here, don't forget, that is steel. Steel, that's not plastic. Some people say, oh, hey, we mold ours out of plastic so it stays that color all the way through. Hey, I can bend this back. That plastic's cracked, there's not much fixing on that. I like a steel fender. You can set a big fella on that fender. Of course, that's not very safe, but like I say, that'll take a lot of abuse. Now, your loader joystick is right here and easy to get to. The loader does have a float position. Really like that. Now, as we come back, when we raise the hood, you're gonna notice this tractor doesn't have a battery on it. Doesn't have it up there. The battery is located down here. Let this tractor pass by. All right, the battery is under here. You remove this bolt right here, the battery is on a tray that'll pivot. It's got a pivot point out right here, and it's gonna pivot out here where you can get to it, replace it very easily. Mahindra did an exceptional good job of their plumbing on the loader on this tractor. It was not an afterthought. They have done a fantastic job on how clean and the location of everything. You've got your power beyond valve, and everything's fed off of this. That is a nice setup. It's out of the way. You're not worried about it. Now, on some of our other videos, we've talked about how long the loader frame is, how heavy the loader frame is. The location of the loader is in the middle of the tractor. Really and truly, the middle of anybody's tractor is the weakest point of it. And then you're hanging a loader on it, adding to the stress. This loader frame starts here, and it goes way back here, and it's tied to the rear end. If you don't spread that load out, you're concentrating that load in an area this big, or you want to spread it out over this much area. So spread out is much better. Now, there again, on your loader, if it doesn't have a grease fitting here, it's hidden somewhere. You gotta make sure and find it. Right there's a greasy spot. Right there is the grease fitting. So everything that moves on that loader is gonna grease, and you want to make sure and grease it. People ask about how often to grease. I'll always try to grease about every 10 hours. I don't really run my tractor day in and day out every day. If you are, grease it once a day. If you're gonna do it like me and maybe run 2 hours today, you might run 3 hours 2 weeks from now, you might run 4 hours in another month. You can keep up with every 10 on the hour meter pretty good. So grease it every 10 hours or so. Now, the bucket does have a bucket level indicator. Just keep in mind when you go from a factory bucket to a aftermarket grapple or aftermarket set of forks or something like that, the angle on that back of that bucket may be different. It may be standing up at a 90 degree instead of like a 45. That's gonna change what this reads. So on the bucket from the factory, when this is flush, the bucket is flat when you're on flat ground. Come around here and we'll raise the hood. All right, to raise the hood on the 5155, 5145, the first thing you're gonna do, you've got a knob here on your grill guard. You're gonna pull that out and push the grill guard forward. You do that so the hood and the grill are clear. Make sure and push that back and lock it back into position when you get done under the hood. You don't want your loader to come up and it could push back, it could fall out and the loader come down on it. So make sure you always put that back when you're done. To raise the actual hood, you got a T-handle. You pull the T-handle out, hood comes up on its own strut. It's got a grab strap right here to make it easier to pull down. Really like the way these hoods do. Now, you do have a screen here in front of your radiator. Comes out from the other side with the loader up, that spring comes out and slide it out to the side. Radiator cap is very easy to get to. I like to check mine at the radiator cap when they're cold, not at the overflow jug. Different people's got different opinions on that. I'm just a radiator cap guy. You do have an air filter right here, easy to get to. Again, with the loader up, slides right out. Your fuel filter is easy to get to, very easy to drain. If you got water in there, you can unscrew this. Water's gonna come out. If you did have to prime it, if you had algae or something in there, you'd have to prime it and pump the algae, slimy looking gunk that's in there. Pump that out, get good clean fuel, tighten it back up. Now, under the hood on this side, that's pretty much it that you're going to be doing yourself on the fuel filter. On the other side is where your engine oil dipstick is. You can easily see the yellow fill port where you fill engine oil, and you can look right through here. You see the yellow dipstick, very easy to get to. You don't have to have the hood up to get to that. I like that very well. They've really thought this tractor out a lot. This tractor is much easier to get to than the older series. We still sell a lot of the older series, the 4540, 4550. This one's just a little bit easier, in my opinion, to maintain, okay? We'll shut the hood and get up on the operator's platform. Like I say, to shut the hood, you're gonna grab your strap, pull down where you can get your hand on it, shut the hood, and make sure and push your grill guard back. And that pin is spring loaded, so it locks itself. So before we get on the operator's platform, your fuel is filled from ground level. I really like that. It's hard, especially people that don't have transfer tanks or pumps, and they're having to use 5-gallon jugs and that kind of thing. It's hard when a fuel tank is up here to hold that up and pour it in there. You can do it easily right here. You do have a screen right here. It makes it a lot easier to keep the trash out of your tank. The big thing on that is make sure and don't grab a dirty 5-gallon bucket to put fuel in. Put your fuel in a designated container that is clean. Buy your fuel where they sell a lot of fuel. They need to have a large turnover of that. And make sure they have a large turnover of whatever you're buying. They may fill a bunch of trucks up on on-road fuel, but if they don't sell a lot of off-road fuel, probably need to put on-road fuel in. If they do have a large turnover of off-road fuel, go for it. That's what we put in it here. We use transfer tanks with water separators, and we try to keep those cleaned out. So because I don't want to put dirty fuel, bad fuel in somebody's new tractor. So when you get up on the tractor, really nice steps here. This tractor, instead of having the gears down here in the middle, it's wide open. You do have a pedal in the middle for tilt wheel. That's very nice, and it adds to your comfort. People don't understand how much that helps. You do have a shuttle shift transmission, forward, neutral, and reverse right here. Light controls, hazard controls, horns up here, turn signals. Everything is easy to get to and right there within reach. Clutch, make sure on anybody's tractor, when you clutch the tractor, you're not clutching it to here. You clutch it all the way till it stops. If you're not as long-legged as I am, you may need to scoot your seat forward so you can get that clutch to a stop, because you will clutch it all the way before you shuttle shift and before you shift your speed. Your speed over here's got 4 speeds. You've got 3 ranges, low, medium, and high. So that's going to give you a 12 forward, 12 reverse. You can still be moving when you shift the shuttle. You can still be moving when you shift the speed over here on your right, but you must mash the clutch completely before you do. The range, I'm not sure of anybody's that you're going to shift the range without clutching and stopping before you shift the range, okay? So make sure that you clutch it all the way. And you don't want to run around with your foot resting on this. That's going to wear the clutch. Take your foot, when you're not all the way on the clutch and you're not coming off of it, put your foot flat on the floorboard, okay? A while ago, we talked about your PTO speed. On this tractor, you've got 540, neutral, and 540E. I run mine in 540 all the time. I'm not going to run 540E. I'm not a fan of that. That would have to be a really light load. I don't have anything that would be a light load, maybe a spreader. But like I say, I like regular 540. To engage your PTO, of course, you've got this in gear in 540. To engage the PTO, you're going to throw the lever forward, put it up there. PTO is running. To turn the PTO off, very simple. No switch, no wire, no nothing to go bad. I like that. You do have a hand brake right here for your park brake. 4-wheel drive is engaged right here beside the seat. Your auxiliary valve. This tractor does have a set of rear auxiliary valves. It is controlled right here. Push and pull the lever. Your position on your 3-point hitch is right beside the seat in the position that you're probably very familiar with on anybody else's tractor. It's right beside the right-hand side of the seat. Your joystick does have a lock. I can push it down, and this joystick really won't function well enough. Excuse me. With it pushed down, it won't lock. You pull it up, and it will function. This loader does have a float position, so I can push it till it wants to stop. If I continue pushing, it goes into float. You can still curl your bucket, more aggressive or less aggressive for back dragging. To take it out, you just pull it back past the detent. You do have differential lock on this tractor. You mash that down, makes the rear end pull positive traction. It may not come out because it's spring released, foot applied, spring released, but it may not come out until you hit one brake or the other, left or right brake, and or change direction forward to reverse. It's common on anybody's tractor. You do have a foot throttle here and a hand throttle. Spring adjustment here for your seat, fore and aft right here. This has got the M Comfort seat. I really do like the Mahindra seats. They do a great job on the seats. Now, you don't have a knob here for drop speed control. That drop speed control is actually tucked in here beside the right-hand side of the seat. So your drop speed is not where it normally is. It's back here beside the seat. And like I say, I think that pretty much concludes our walk around of the 5100 series. It's a brand new series. I say brand new, it's been around for a couple of years now, but many dealers have not gotten many of these yet. This is a great tractor. Really like this tractor. I like a more modern tractor for my use. Nothing wrong with the 4500 series. That's just the old school, no bells and whistles, and that's what a lot of you guys want. So I got them both. Come see us at Murphy Brothers. If we can help you, if you've got any questions, make your comments there. We'll try to reply. And I thank you for watching. Thank you. Hey, before I go, I forgot to tell you, this does have the Mahindra MCRD engine. That is the Mahindra Common Rail diesel engine. It does not take DEF. It does not have a diesel particulate filter. It does not regen. That is a big deal for Mahindra tractors. Just wanted to let you know that. I let that slip during the video, but I wanted you to know it. Come see us at Murphy Brothers right here in Boonville, Mississippi.